Wow, it's a thin crowd today. Well, happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Hour. I will get right to it. And so I was talking with Matt about he's so happy how staffing has been going in the facilities department, and we do have a lot of new faces. And he had asked, can I just bring everyone up and introduce them to put a name to the face? So we're going to do that right now. Matt, can you come up with your team? So I say new faces, the old, I don't want to say old faces. The not new faces are staying in the back, I'm guessing. So, all right, Matt.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
So obviously, like we said before, we did get some new hires, and I want to.
Oh, come on over here. Come on over here.
I would like to introduce. We have Mary, Brittany, Lori, and Veronica. Okay. I also there's Robert, and we also hired. He's on the kind of the second shift. You'll see him kind of doing the bistro floors. He's doing some more flooring type care for the afternoon. Okay. And Amanda, am I missing anybody?
Bonnie.
And Bonnie, which is not here. She is, we're still working at the health center. See how devoted she is? She won't even come get embarrassed because she still wants to. So, but anyways, I just want to just point everybody out. Make sure you give them a warm welcome, okay? They love being here, which is a great thing. After the first couple of days, I remember Brittany and Veronica, they were coming up to me, they're like, this place is so nice, it's so, everyone's so friendly and everything else, including Lori. Same thing with Lori. And Mary's been with us for how many months now, Mary?
Like 6 months.
6 months, okay. And with their attitudes and just their positive attitudes, it's very welcoming. And I'd like you to extend the same welcome, please.
Except for Mary. You have to stand here because we're giving you a star. So for anyone who's, because we always have new people here, we give a star to anyone who really kind of goes above and beyond and needs to be recognized. Everyone does a great job. Everyone has a great approach and attitude. But every once in a while when we have our team of directors get together, we just really have to talk about somebody. And Matt really wanted to talk about Mary. And let's see. So Mary's getting a star because Mary's just that personality. She's always outgoing and happy and bubbly, but she picks up shifts when we need somebody to pick up. But probably the thing that really makes Mary stand out the most is how she takes the new team under her wing and kind of shows them the way of how things are done. And when you have this kind of friendly personality and just a warm, inviting person, that's who you want anyone new coming in to connect with. So Mary, thank you for all you do. Thank you for taking the new staff under your wings. And
No.
okay.
It's just a wonderful place. It really is. It's a wonderful place for me. I lost I mean, some of you probably know, my twin, I had an identical twin.
The camera can hear me. Okay.
So I had an identical twin quite a few years ago who passed. And I just try to stay busy. I just try to stay busy. And one of the things I can say about this place is everybody has a story, everybody's had loss, and I just love it here. I just absolutely love it.
Thank you. Well, here, you just take that and you can put it on your bags. Okay. All right, thank you, Mary. Let's get that to work. And thank you to the rest of our new team. I look forward to seeing you around campus. Okay, what else do we have? So next week, probably midweek, we're sending out, we're moving up the time frame a little bit for our annual survey. So this is your opportunity to look at some predetermined categories, kind of score us from 1 to 5. Take a look at that. We do this every year, and it's a good way to let us know, give us feedback how we're doing. I know everyone looks at things differently. Sometimes Mary Wellington may look at something and say, 4 is the best I'm ever going to give someone because that's what it means to me. And she'll give someone a 4 and someone else will give a 5. We look at consistency in the numbers, but probably the most important thing are the comments. So there's where I and the rest of our team really spend some time looking at your comments. And we do share these with the board as well. So we all read through them and we try to find those gaps. I think it's hard to say somebody's doing something well and then somebody else says they're not doing it well. But if we see a trend, that's where we really try to make a difference. And we really do take those to heart and we try to make a difference. So next week, look for the surveys in your mailbox, probably mid to late week. And then there'll be a time frame listed on there how long we're asking you to think about those surveys and then give them back to us. So look for that. And then, how many people have signed up for the app? Lots of good. Wow, a lot of hands. Okay, well, Jill, you want to come up real quick?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I wanted to thank everyone for participating in this new tool that we have. We have about 100 people, almost, that are signed up, which is wonderful. I do want to thank our volunteers. We did have this rolled out to some volunteer testers about a couple weeks before we rolled it out to the entire community, and everyone was super helpful. I did have a couple people that combed through the app, tested every single little thing, and I want to give an extra special thank you to those people. Mr. and Mrs. Preble, thank you so much. I know she's not here today, but everyone really was very helpful, so thank you. If you have questions about the app, there are people that are willing to help. I know it's kind of tough getting it downloaded, but once you have it downloaded, it's a little bit easier. And you can do everything that you were doing before the same old way via paper. But the app is kind of a nice little feature that we're hoping to improve upon time as well. So how does everyone like it so far?
No, that's it.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
So if you haven't downloaded it, please do so. It's very informative, but it's also a useful tool for us. And you will start seeing some alerts here and there as things pop up. We need to communicate with all of you right away. If you don't have it, we're still going to do our normal communication process, but this is a quick way, an easy way for us to get a message out. So thank you, Jill, for all of your hard work as well. Okay, I'm going to have Lisa come up real quick. Oh, by the way, if you haven't downloaded the app, there are instructions at the reception desk, or as Jill said, stop any of us, we'll help you through it. Or John probably will be happy to show you how to do it, because he spent all morning here doing it.
Unless you have an Android.
Unless you have an Android.
Good morning, everybody. I just have one quick little thing to go over. I know I've spoken to a couple of you in the bistro about this already, but we are really asking that we please do not move the tables in the bistro. We've had an issue with a lot of the tables being damaged. Maintenance has done a great job fixing them, but it's becoming a safety hazard for multiple reasons. It's making it so we can't get through the aisleways. Moving the tables in general can be an issue. Again, the tables being damaged and they become unsteady is an issue. And really, like when you're having a table of 15, you won't be able to, from one end of the table to the other, you can't really talk to that person anyway. So please just respect the boundaries of the tables that are already there. The other reason is it's almost a little bit intimidating when we have those big groups of people, which I know is wonderful and fun, but we want to make sure everyone else is welcome and our newer community members want to come down and join as well, so that everyone has a different place or someone else to meet and join and commit. So when you're making those big long tables, it's a little unsafe in there. So can we please just leave the tables as they are for now on? Okay? Yes?
Have you looked at buying better tables that can?
So the tables, no, our maintenance team does a great job on fixing the table. I knew I would get some maintenance suggestions. We're on that. Our suggestion is to leave them as they are.
I understand.
Okay. Mr. Newton.
I disagree with that. The reason I disagree is the nature of the tables is that even when you move the table yourself to clean underneath the tables, those little threaded wheels or pads are going to loosen. Some are tighter, some are looser. If they would just put a second nut on that thread and tighten it to the table, they would stay stable.
Even if the tables are stable, we don't want them moved.
I
It's causing
understand that.
issues with the
I'm talking
aisles.
about sitting at a table and having it rock while you're sitting there. And that's a big part of what you're talking about too. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Mary? Okay, before we have Mary, somebody just snuck in that we want to give a star to that I didn't think was going to be here. Dolly, can you come up?
Sorry, Don.
Thank you, Mary. It was Mary's idea, she saw you. So we all know Dolly, and Dolly probably deserves a star every day she's here. Dolly, of course, is such a great representative of Foxborough, and everyone describes her as she's such a sweet personality, and she's so engaging with our residents. But I have to be incredibly vague with why we're giving her a star, and I'll just tell you, every once in a while, a difficult situation pops up somewhere on campus. And in Dolly's case, we had some tricky situations in our health center, and it takes a special personality to be able to handle all of that. And some of it is just dealing with personalities of whether it's a resident or family member, and it really takes a lot of hard work and it's very stressful. But Dolly has this ability to keep in mind it's not just stressful for her and her team, it's stressful for residents and families as well. So she's able to keep all of that together and really does a nice job of being able to handle something. So now we take the high pressure situations and we just dump it all on Dolly. She's great at it.
I'm getting wrinkles.
Well, at least you have all your hair now.
That's true. That's also true.
So thank you, Dolly, for everything you do, and here's a star.
I actually have my bell today.
Yes.
For the new people, why don't you tell them what Dolly does over there?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's on there. So Dolly works in our health center in assisted living and memory care, and she is our case manager. So she deals with a lot of, not just paperwork, but she makes sure we have all that stuff set aside, but she also day-to-day will handle situations almost as if she's part social work, part case manager. So Dolly started as a server, I think, and then she was in reception, and then she was in activities, and she keeps moving up the ladder, and she will have my office someday. So thank you, Dolly.
I was going to play the piano, but because it's my turn to speak, so I'll make this brief because I know we have a speaker. Just a couple things I want to remind people of. PERS. Please wear your PERS. Please use your PERS. Every time there's an emergency, the first thing I ask Lori, did they press their PERS? 9 times out of 10, I hear no. So just as a reminder, press your PERS, even if there's somebody in the hallway you're concerned about. They call Pamela, they track down Lori. You can always press your PERS, or just remember there's pull cords. If you don't know where the pull cords are, familiarize yourself. They're in your bathrooms. There's one right back there. There's one in the bistro. There's one in the fitness center. Don't ever be afraid to hit the PERS button, okay? And I know many of you wear them and use them. It's just a general reminder. Also, name tags. I'm terrible at wearing mine. We want to continue this community of caring people. You all remember when you first moved in how sometimes tough it is to get to know people and know their names. So please remember, yes, sir. Mr. Rebel.
If you want us to wear name tags,
Yes.
could you make the printing big enough that some of us could read it?
No, that's a really good point. You don't have any
I can't
readers?
read yours whether it's on or not.
That's a really good point. I can talk to the powers that be. I know in the health center, we have larger name tags. So you're saying you can't read people. Does other people feel the same? Yes? Well, I never knew that. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. So we're going to have great big ones. Great big ones.
Get boxing jerseys.
We can get jerseys, have it on the back of your name. Hey, I'm writing it down. Name tags, thank you. Okay, let's see. Oh, I get to do all the fun announcements. Housekeeping. It's come to my attention and people have brought it up to me, in the commons area, there's lots of tissues left behind, lots of coffee cups, soup cups, lots of things. I forget things too. Just try to be a little bit more mindful of, you know, your belongings, because I do go around and throw things out. But, oh, Mr. Nudie.
A couple of us has been talking. Why don't we have any waste baskets in any of these common areas?
Oh, that's another good
It's kind of
one.
strange that
True.
we have all these enormous areas and no place to throw the garbage.
Garbage. See, this is why we do these meetings. Garbage. Baskets. Okay.
So we've actually had that question quite often over the years,
Oh.
and we've toyed with the idea of putting them in the commons, but really for aesthetics, there's waste baskets at reception and the dining and the bistro and in here. It's more things to cover, more things to empty. There's the smell, there's the look. So we have them. We just at this point don't want to put any more in the large common areas.
Yes, Mr. Nudie.
I'm talking about the halls.
The hallways.
Everybody walks in these halls. We have all kinds of people with candy at their doors and no place to put the wrappers.
Right.
And it would be good if we would all police the area.
Okay, police, Mr. Preble.
I think the same applies to campus outside.
Right.
We walk our dog, there's candy wrappers, there's cigarette butts all over the campus.
Yes.
Good. Well, this is good. Okay, so more receptacles. Now, I do eat the candy in the hallways, and I put the little wrappers right here. But I understand your point, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see if we could do something about it. But to also remind yourselves that there are waste baskets here, the garbage cans, you know, whatever. So, that's it. Let me think if I have any other announcements today. Oh, I know. February, we think of Valentine's Day, February sometimes, but we also think, or I've been thinking when I had to do my business plan, grief. Grief is a big deal here. We have a lot of people who pass away here. We have a lot of, you know, you meet friends and then 2 years later they pass. Also, your spouse's loved ones pass. So I'm having a small grief group starting in February. I did identify maybe 8 residents that I'm aware of that had lost a spouse recently or a family member. And Connie James, our social worker who worked at hospice for a long time, is going to facilitate the group. It's every Monday at 11 o'clock in the card room. If you are interested in attending this group, please let me know. Or if you have somebody who you think might benefit from it, we're trying it out for 4 weeks. It's for 1 hour. Connie's going to facilitate it, but I want to try it and then offer it to more people. We do have Coping with Change, which is once a month, but I want to put another layer in for grief. And grief could be anything from losing a spouse, a child, having to move over to assisted living. There's a lot of grief. So I just want you to know I'm kind of focusing on that this month, and just give me a ring if you want to come to the group or you know somebody who might be able to benefit. Okay, without further ado, is there any residents announcements? Going once, twice? Oh, would you like to announce the next resident council meeting? That's coming up, February 8th?
Yes.
February 8th is the next resident council meeting at 1 o'clock in the event center. So everybody is welcome and encouraged to attend. Okay, that's it. Can I introduce my dear friend, Richard Leonard? He is going to introduce our speakers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Donald Lomas is going to present a very nice presentation on Railroads Museum in Buffalo, which he and his wife Barbara co-founded, and I know you're going to find it to be really interesting. John and I have known each other too long, but I think it's 60 years, and we both worked for the Soil Conservation Service in East Aurora. The other work that Don got heavily involved in, believe it or not, is the Love Canal. He started his own soil drilling contract work. And how many wells did you put in at Love Canal?
How many what?
How many wells, monitoring wells?
About 60.
About 60 monitoring wells in the Love Canal. And I'm sure it wasn't fun work because you had to wear protective clothing, all kinds of encapsulation. The other things that I know Don has done, in addition to founding the Railroad Museum, he's been the chairman of the Easter Water Environmental Board for, what is it, about, how many years, Don?
Since 1972.
Since 1972. And he has also, in recent years, donated large parcel of land near his house for a wildlife preserve. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Don.
So I'm going to start, first of all, that I am the principal author of what they call the Erie County Soil Survey, which meant that 1/3 of Erie County, I mapped the soils, and I supervised the other 2/3, which means, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's
Okay. That's unfortunate. I know more about Erie County than anybody else because of the fact I know the soils from the ground up. And another aspect that I was involved with is I located the football stadium in Orchard Park. They weren't going to go there. They were going to go to the fairground site. So I recommended the site that they're at because of the soils are stable and they have good road access. And that's where they're located. Well, now I'm going to go to my talk. I'm very much interested in flanged wheels, which means railroads and streetcars and things like that. Buffalo was the second largest rail center in the United States. And why was that? Well, things came down on boats and was offloaded in Buffalo to go further east. And also the New York Central Railroad is a major east-west railroad. They carried a lot of freight. And Buffalo being a steel manufacturing facility, lots of business for the railroads. And also, what else? The grain mills provided a lot of business for the railroads. And before we had railroads, how did we get around? We walked, probably had a horse, and if you had a canal or a river, you could use canal boats. Railroads started rather elementary, but they advanced pretty fast. And you could see that in 1950, those engines, each one of those engines has a horsepower of about 1,200. So you can see that the railroad engines increased in size over time. We had quite a network of railroads in New York State. This is 1855, not the peak of the railroads. But where did railroads go? They went the lines of, well, I would say least resistance. They didn't want to have to go up hills. They didn't want to have to go up hills. So they wanted to stay pretty much at grade. So they located their lines on mostly flat land, but they had to get up on the Allegheny Plateau, which means there are grades. Next slide. You can see that there was quite a network of railroads in New York State. Almost every community had a railroad line. In 1919, you can see that there's still a lot of railroads, but what happened is a new form of transportation came into being, an automobile and trucks, and that took away a lot of business from the railroads. And this particular side is showing that the railroad's going up the valley, and then it built the 400 expressway going around East Aurora, and that went into the valley, and pretty much parallel to the railroad. On that particular side, believe it or not, my house is located there. And you can see that when they built the 400, they had to have a new alignment. That was a real challenge in building that roadway. Buffalo, again, being the second largest rail center, they had a number of railroad stations. This is the New York Central Exchange Street station, and now there's hardly anything there. Looks like. No, back one. This is the Lackawanna station. There's the Lehigh Valley station. Lehigh Valley, again, you can see the stadium in the background. And the Lackawanna station was at the foot of Main Street, very busy place at one time. Of course, a lot of people maybe even went through this station. How many people have been at the Central Terminal? Almost everybody. And you know why? Because you're of age that you use railroads and you pick up people at the station. This was a very busy place and a prominent building. And Buffalo, as I said, was the second largest rail center. And you could see the busyness of that. That's just the passenger aspect. If you look in the background, look at all the freight cars in the yard. And if you look carefully, do you see smog? Do you see smoke? A lot of it. And wow, here's our railroad station today. And this is the Amtrak station in Depew. Yes, we still have passenger train service in Buffalo. I think maybe 4 trains a day, but that's about it. How far can you go? Well, you go out to the West Coast. You can take the Lakeshore Limited to Chicago and then get on a train to go out west. So yes, you can get around on a train. You just don't have the number of trains for convenient departure. Buffalo is known as a transloading point of material is coming down the Great Lakes and unloading or loading. Here is a coal terminal where they were loading coal on the boats to go up the Great Lakes. Some of these boats were coming down with iron ore from Buffalo. So you could see, Buffalo was a very busy place. Their canals and Buffalo River was very busy. You can see the number of ships in there. Again, Buffalo is a great milling facility. And Buffalo is a very, as I said, very busy. A lot of activity. And there's a railroad called Buffalo Creek. Over time, names changed. There's hardly a railroad name that has not changed, company name that has not changed. Buffalo Creek is still present today. And here's the New York Central Yard. You can see again how busy it was. And we had railroad yards. This is the Erie Railroad Yard. And what they had, what they call a hump. And they would push the train cars up the hump and let them roll down on the other side. And the switchers would then switch with the car go on the right track for their next departure. And in this instance, notice there's a guy on the train car. They would manually brake these things after coming down the hill. Not today, they got retarders. And this is the first retarding yard in Buffalo. And this is the New York Central Yard off of Broadway. And you can see the number of tracks and how busy it is. They push the cars up the hill and then uncouple, and then they would, person on the tower would throw the switches to make sure it was going on to the right track. Can you imagine unloading an ore carrier by hand? So there was a lot of, again, railroad activity. Buffalo being the largest flour mill facility in the United States. We had a lot of freight coming in on these hopper cars and unloading them. And the caboose. How sad we had no more cabooses. Cabooses are gone now. Why? Because there's a sensor at the back of the train that sends a signal to the engine as to the air pressure. So they felt they don't need them anymore. And if you look at a long railroad train today, how many people are on that train? 2. There's only 2 people. It's the engineer and conductor. Those are the only 2 people. Years ago, there used to be 5. And every once in a while, you'd have a little episode. This is out near my house in East Aurora. They sort of had a train wreck. And you can see they're picking up the derailed cars. And sometimes there were major railroad wrecks. And they would have to get wrecking machines there to put the cars back on the track or haul them away. And I'm very proud to let you know that my wife and I bought a caboose. Here it is. Here it is, the caboose. Not the original colors, but why is it blue? Because it was Conrail. Conrail was blue at the time. And what did we do? We were restoring it back to its original condition, Lehigh Valley, and there it is. And it says, root of the Black Diamond. Why the Black Diamond? Because Lehigh Valley hold anthracite coal. There was a coal railroad. But they were very good at having good equipment and having their name displayed. And that caboose, again, my wife and I bought that caboose. And we restored it, the Railroad Society restored it. And if you want to visit it, it's up in Williamsville. It's there for your pleasure. This is the entrance to our museum site in downtown Buffalo. And welcome anybody and everybody to come and visit this center. We have artifacts in there. We have a geology group in there. And we welcome you. It's on Lee Street by South Park, by the Buffalo River. And you can see the campus that we have. And this is what we're envisioning. It'll take a while for us to be able to develop all of this, but we're slowly trying to do that. The trouble is, our group are people of white hair, been around for a while, and so it takes time, but we have a bunch of volunteers that are helping. Appreciate that. And all the materials have been donated. We also have a model train that's in there. You should come and visit it. Guess what? It's free. And that's the entrance. We also have the Lighthouse Association in our building. And a lot of the materials that we have were donated. And we have a steel plant museum in there. And they have some nice exhibits. So you should come down and see that as well. And this is when we dedicated the opening of the building. And if you could back up one. And guess what? I still have white hair. Guess what? I still have hair. Does anybody know Kevin O'Neill? On Channel 2? Yeah. There he is. And that was our grand opening in 2010. They brought a little steam engine in. We had the dignitaries there. Our Railroad Society has equipment. We have 6 New York Central passenger cars that are on a rail, and we use them for excursion on the Medina Railroad. So if you want to take a ride on a New York Central passenger car, go up to Medina. And we have this power car now in Olean. And the steam engine. we don't have that. But, this steam engine served Buffalo, and what did it bring into Buffalo? Coal. And that's it. Again, all friends, peace.
Do you want to take any questions? Would you like to take?
Yeah, any questions from anybody?
I have a quick question. Nice presentation, by the way. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. My
This is
pleasure.
off the wall. All of those railroad cars that, excuse me, have been around for a year and a half or so, all the silver ones. What is in those and why are they hanging out on all of our tracks around here? Nobody can give me an answer.
Storage.
Can you give me an answer?
Where are they?
They're all over locally. I'm not just here, but everywhere you go in this area.
Oh, they're grain hoppers.
They're what?
Grain, they're all grain.
Are they full of grain?
No, I think they're new. And
They've
they
been
have
around,
not been
yes.
used. So they're on storage track, like the track in the Orchard Park. There's a whole bunch of hoppers there.
They're all over.
Yeah, they're brand new.
So they're just hanging out. I've never noticed that before.
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Uh,
I mean, when I say before a year and a half,
Yeah.
they weren't around. Why are they hanging out now?
Storage. Apparently, they've not been assigned to a railroad, and I don't think, a year from now, they'll be gone.
You think or you don't?
Yeah, no, I think
The same
Gone?
hoppers that
Okay.
are out here
All right.
yes.
were
He doesn't-
down in Cattaraugus County
Same.
about 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
They're just hiding them. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm very surprised because of the fact that somebody had to build them at an expense.
Right.
Somebody's holding the cost for those cars.
That's right.
I'm glad I'm not their banker.
They must be rodent condominiums by now.
No, they won't, they might grow, but not.
John?
The steel mill or the steel museum that you have in your building, is that the one that used to be downstairs in the Lackawanna Library?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
that's a nice museum.
Here's my buddy here.
One of the reasons I try to give other storage of those,
You know, the trains on the tracks, the silver ones, probably cost a lot less to leave them there than to put them to a building. It's cheap storage.
Storage.
Cheap storage.
Another question?
Don, I love the word caboose. Do you know the origin of that word?
I do not. My wife probably does.
No?
No, she doesn't either.
It's such a good word.
It's sort of like the end.
Yeah, caboose, it probably means something like that.
Yeah.
I think that the reason railroads don't exist very much anymore, transportation-wise, except for cargo, is that they're not profitable. Is there any way that you foresee to make transportation railroads profitable?
Not for passengers. There's not a passenger line in the States that make money. Freight, yes, but not passengers. And Amtrak runs at a loss every year. Even though they're busy at times.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
there is a trailer park, where all the trailers are cabooses. And people live there in the summer. I think they could live all year round, but there are several.
You have to remember that cabooses, in part,
Flowers and
yeah, cabooses in part were used to have people at the end of the train. But they also were used people who might have to stay on that train for a long period of time. So you could sleep on the caboose.
All right, thank you so much. That was